Hi there, my name's Colleen Reuter, and I'm a licensed professional counselor associate supervised by Susan Gonzalez. As a therapist, I specialize in working with couples, families, and teens. Many times when I'm working with couples, a common question about how to better communicate comes up. Countless times I've had one partner or the other share, how do I hear my partner's concerns without becoming defensive? Or how am I able to learn from my partner what they're feeling and what they need from me without feeling criticized and judged? And really, what a beautiful question. What I hear when a client shares this is, how do I support my partner in getting what they need without formulating in my mind all the reasons why their concern isn't valid? It's so common for many of us to become defensive when we hear a perceived critique or criticism from our partner. And really the answer is, how do we form boundaries? Many of us are very familiar with external boundaries. So this idea of perhaps sharing with a partner, what kind of touch do I like? And oftentimes, more importantly, what kind of touch do I not like? This might also look like when you are speaking to another person, maybe you're at a party, you're at a child's function at school, and another individual comes up to talk to you. We often have a very unique and individual, invisible perimeter or boundary around us that signals how comfortable or safe we feel in proximity to others. So my external boundary of what makes me feel comfortable and safe when approached by another person is maybe at an arm's length. For some, that might be closer, for others, further away. But that's an example of an external boundary. So what we're going to talk about today to help us to be more open to hearing our partner and their concerns or their feelings is the idea of creating a psychological boundary. The practice of creating psychological boundaries was developed by marriage and family therapist Julianne Taylor Shore, and she beautifully articulates the intention behind formulating psychological boundaries as a way to keep my mind protected from your mind and your mind protected from mine. And what this unveils to us is that it gives us an opportunity to hear and receive what our partner is sharing without falling victim to that defensive feeling that is so often a result of when we feel like we're being criticized or judged. We often assume that others, especially those closest to us, share our thoughts. That what's going on for us in our mind is the same as what's going on for theirs in their mind. And really, nothing could be further from the truth. Their mind is distinctly created by all of their unique and individual experiences, as well as neurobiology. And similarly, the true is the same for us. Our minds are created by a host of all the experiences that we've had that are unique to us and our own neurobiology. So while we might assume that whatever's going on in our mind is true for our partner, creating a psychological boundary allows us to remind ourselves that we have very distinct, two separate minds. Julianne Taylor Shore talks about creating a mental image in your mind before having these conversations with your partner. And she describes hers as a Jello wall. Her Jello wall is an example of what information am I going to receive and what information am I going to hear with compassion and curiosity, but recognize as being something that has more to do with my partner. For me, it's the image of a trampoline. So when I'm about to have a conversation with my partner, maybe he says, "Hey, Colleen, I'd really like to talk to you about something." First, I take a few deep breaths. And that's because oftentimes when we're about to have a conversation where one partner wants to express their concerns or needs, sometimes our lizard brain can become activated. And what our lizard brain is responsible for is that fight, flight, or freeze mode. And that puts us in a defensive place right out the gate. By taking a few deep breaths, that allows me to calm and soothe my lizard brain and access the more logical brain, which allows me to then create that mental image of the trampoline so that I can hear my partner's concerns and decide, are these things for me to act on, right? Are these really things about me? Or are these pieces of information that I can listen to and be empathetic to about my partner? Okay, so what does this look like? If you're anything like me, you're thinking, this sounds great in theory, but what are some examples of how this looks in real life? So I'll use an example that happened recently in our own home. My partner and I had kind of raced home from work and picked up the kids, and we're in the throes of getting ready for a very full evening of after-school athletics. As we're getting ready for coaching and we're getting ready to be the snack parent and basically participate in all the things, I hear my partner digging through the dirty clothes basket and exclaiming, "Why isn't our son's uniform ready?" Immediately, I can feel that reactive part of my brain light up. That part that makes me want to go into defensive mode. And immediately I want to say, well, it's not my responsibility to clean the uniform. Why didn't you clean the uniform? But because of what I know about psychological boundaries, I take a moment and instead of reacting, I take several deep breaths. Maybe I need more than 3. Maybe I need closer to 5. And in doing so, it allows me to slow down and access that more logical part of my brain. I picture the trampoline. Okay. It also allows me, in picturing that mental image, that trampoline, to create and signify that psychological barrier between what's going on in my husband's mind and what's going on with mine. And check in with myself. What did I hear? What I actually heard was, why isn't our son's uniform ready? Okay. What didn't I hear? I actually didn't hear any blame or accusation that I'm the one responsible for cleaning the uniform. So even with that deeper, kind of more rounded out picture, I'm able to go up to my partner when I can tell his reactive mind has cooled down, say, "Hey, it seemed like you were feeling flustered about the uniform. Can we talk about that?" And with that image of the trampoline, I'm able to listen to my partner's concerns and discern, is this information about me, expectations about my roles and responsibilities, or is it information about him? And in having that conversation, we were able to uncover that it can be really anxiety producing when we're racing around the house, kind of racing against the clock, trying to get everything ready. And so to work as a team and be more proactive together about what we're each going to do to be ready on busy evenings would be beneficial to both of us. It also allowed me to see that this was information that I was able to learn about my partner, and that the assumptions that I had made and defensive position I originally had more to do with my own worries and my own thoughts about myself. I'm so glad that you joined me today to learn a little bit about ways to communicate with your partner using psychological boundaries. Although we usually think of boundaries as ways of preventing closeness, I promise that in utilizing psychological boundaries, it actually increases the closeness that you share with your partner. Creating that distinction between their thoughts and their unique mind and your thoughts and your unique mind allows you to go from feeling defensive and criticized to receiving the feelings and concerns from your partner with compassion and with empathy.